developmental issues from 11 a.m. to 12 midday weekday, Monday to Friday with Olaleko Osque and Felix Ojogu. It is a special broadcast and exclusive from the stables of Family Love 97.7 FM.
We need a change.
Good morning. This is Family Love 97.7 FM, Port Harcourt. And of course, it is a beautiful Friday morning. You know, traditionally in offices now you hear them saying TGF. Is it TGIS or whatever? Thank God it's Friday. TGIF. Yeah. Pat, I hope you said it at a point. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Okay. So good morning, a very beautiful one for that matter. This is Family Love. Family Love 97.7 FM, Port Harcourt Media Awards radio station of the year. And we're thanking you for joining us on our daily conversations because you're part of our family. And this conversation ranges from high-flying inflation, dented economy, and staggering polity, plus the ever-busy political space. If you want to doubt me, take a stroll to the National Assembly arena right now and see lobbying going on. Who wants to be the leader of National Assembly and all that. Sleeplessness among our political leaders. Of course, with this new administration, given all uncertainties, twists and turns that gave back to it, your first and only family-oriented radio, Family Love 97.7 FM Port Harcourt, offers a credible platform to discuss such concerns. It is Mid-Morning Conversation, a program where like minds have the unique opportunity to discuss developmental issues that have direct bearing on Nigeria as a nation, as a bigger family, list with its incisive analysis and perspectives on all trending national issues. This comes up weekdays from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. We talk and provide solutions to developmental issues peculiar to the realization of the Nigerian dream. I am your host, of course, and of course your family member, Felix Ojogu, known as Bombastic Bishop of the airwaves. Thank you for joining us. Here is once again 97.7 Family Love FM Port Harcourt, and this is Mid-Morning Conversation this morning. Good morning, my family members, and I'm not alone in this studio at all. 21st century brand new studio. I also have a family member here, Pat Obiene. Pat Obiene, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
In part, it is what it is now,
yes,
and we have to be doing it in this 7th consecutive democratic transition of power as a nation and family, and with a brand new 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Of course, our call, which is very clarion, our expectation is for Nigeria to go well, Nigeria to be a very shining star among the Committee of Nations, and of course all hands, we're saying, should be on deck to support the new administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and to guarantee a better Nigeria for all. National Assembly leadership, that's on our highlights right now. Tinubu's meeting with lawmakers fails to resolve zoning crisis. Meetings upon meetings. You heard it during this opening when I said that when you take a look, I know the three-arm zone. They call it cadastral zone in Abuja, where we have both the Villa, the National Assembly, and the Supreme Court.
That's
right. We
right.
are going driving from Federal Secretariat into that very area, cadastral zone and all that. That place is a beehive of activities now. Lobbyists, pro, against, and all that. Now, first to resolve zoning crisis. Let's talk about that as you join us. But 5 days to the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, President Bola Tinubu's meeting with lawmakers elect failed to resolve the crisis over the APC zoning arrangement. We can't overemphasize it. It's on and on and on. People say Akpabio is anointed candidate. Now, especially from South. Now people are coming even from the North. So what do you got to say about it? Americans will say, what do you got to say about it?
That's right. Well, it's quite a pity that till now we are still struggling with
5 days
structures of apartheid. As long as I'm concerned, these are manifestations of apartheid structures. Anything that will discriminate, you know. So it's quite unfortunate. It tells you that we are still not concerned. We've not graduated to placing more value on competence, and this competence in itself too must be an embodiment of the Nigerian dream. Somebody who will ensure that first we enjoy separation of powers, and promote when need be collaborative elements. That is why there are separation of powers between the three arms. There are points where they collaborate as well.
Exactly.
So that is what I feel and think and believe is the utmost concern of majority of Nigerians. Because if you quickly look at where we're coming from, why we've not been able to move forward as expected and the pace in which we ought to move is due to this exactly what they are still struggling with, elements of zoning. Don't forget, even build up to the presidential elections, the APC to the same experience just to produce their presidential candidate. You see the back and forth to the extent Ahmed Lawal, the then Senate President, was thrown up. These same people now gunning for a Northern Senate President, trying to insist that it has to be a Northern presidential candidate, and the South was also put in Southwest, and all that. We saw the Vice President came to the limelight and all that. In the end, we hear there was a dollar rain that swung the pendulum to who we have now as President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. So it seemed to be a deep-rooted
political. It was an era of placeholdership. Thank
you for reminding us that too.
I'm telling you.
We start having that kind of lexicon.
Placeholders and so this regime where this dispensation where placeholding and interloping.
Even anti-party now is normal. It's not a party offense.
No.
You know, so there's a whole lot of shocker going on. And like I trying to look at, my worry is not about this primitive. As long as I'm concerned, what they're holding on to is still primitive. Because I will continue to demand and insist that if we must be tied to these zoning elements and the name of religion and the name of the region, you know, or the name of our ethnic groups, how come since 1999 we've had a former president, Chief Obasanjo, had 8 years. He is from the Yoruba ethnic group Southwest. We all know the rest of the story. In fact, till date, in terms of even financial corruption, he is here to account for the 16 billion electric power supply project that landed your young friend. What was that? The man who was in charge of committee of investigation. How dollars were exchanged.
Exactly.
Till date, he's working free.
NIPP.
And you know,
we're interested in that account.
I think that, if I'm correct, I think 16 billion is like, you know,
dollars.
So how come the name of where he came from did not do the right thing?
Exactly.
We also saw the high-handedness. He doubled himself as Minister of Petroleum, which outgone President Buhari came and also showing abuse of power, no constitutionalism.
And you said section 138.
Yes. When the tenure, you cannot give to himself any other executive position or employable paid position. It's there in section 138 of the Constitution, and that's a ground norm. Now, why this is important is that we are looking at how come the name of where these persons come from did not play any role, did not guide their actions to doing what is right. How come the religious background they represent did not guide their actions to do what is right? We are here down south to Niger Delta. For somehow by way of natural selection, former President Goodluck Jonathan had his way. You know the rest of the story. At the end of his tenure, he retired back home. The Niger Delta was the loudest to say he failed. You know, so how come he is an Ijaw man from the Ijaw ethnic nationality? How come the fact that he's from Ijaw did not guide him to do all that was right? You know, now look at the first thing we all tolerate. We all made the embarrassment we gave to him 2012. Now somebody else is there. That thing that was wrong in 2012 for us, it is right. Regardless whether it's a Muslim
by the same person. Now right back.
Then he even the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the one who even instigated that movement that petrol price must come to 14 naira for 18 naira.
I personally read this article.
Fine.
What they call
the letter hero. Fine.
Writers.
You know, and the same people now who are supporting these values these men are struggling for are still alive. So the point why we must say it this way is that can't we see that it is now clear that it is the name of where you come from, the zone or whatever, in no way by any means can add value to the strength of your character in doing what is right in any situation you find yourself.
Yes.
We are looking at right now, if you look at section 141 now, look at the president. He's a Yoruba from the West, he's a Muslim. Now the law says that he cannot perform as a president if he doesn't declare his answer. You saw outgone President Buhari trying to do what is right, knowing that there was this public outcry. We saw the chairman of the code of who came visiting and saying that fine. Now how many days running? But Ahmed Tinubu is already performing against the spirit of the constitution. Question: how come because he's from the southwest, he's also a Muslim, has that such element has not guided him that he has to act in conformity with the provisions of the law of the land,
which is the ground norm, like you said.
I just believe that it has become necessary we wake up to this reality. We just have to wake up to understand that these guys just preoccupy us with these struggles to make us feel that right now that is what is serious in Nigeria. We expect that we need somebody now who will be firm that immediately they swearing by Tuesday or thereabout, you will begin to probe into, if possible, call back former President Buhari to come and explain
something
why we find ourselves in this mess, this inhuman condition.
Yes, before the National Assembly.
So now that must be the $1 million question in our minds. That assuming we go by these primitive elements or values we are struggling for, there is a zone, this zone here, south or not what. Like I listen to leadership of the north. Look at, you can imagine how petty the argument. They say they've looked. The president is from the southwest. The CGN is from the southwest. Who is the other person? When exactly the outcome we are witnesses in this country. Appointments were skewed in violation of section 14 sub 3 of the same 1999 Constitution as amended. Even if I don't believe in that, but that as long that's what it is. That informing your government there must be a spread. You know, exception of ministers. That's also constitutional. So the issue of who brings minister is even immaterial.
All right.
So I feel that right now that there is something I've discovered the Nigerian political class have succeeded in doing. They just throw up things that are not the issue to preoccupy us so that we lose focus
diversionary tactics,
raising very fundamental critical questions.
Yes.
Looking at this trend, like for example, the Akpabio now that is becoming a Christmas song, people are now asking questions. Where is it coming from? It's not enough you did what even the Akpabio, if actually I've always argued if you go by UN standard, brick and mortar is not a yardstick for good governance. What the things you embezzled, have you accounted for them? So UN had gone to where you have to be, if you don't support a process where there can be financial accountability and transparency, you are still below leadership standards all over the world.
Yes.
Maybe we don't even understand it.
That's true.
This one you're doing, whether bridge or improvement, it's a duty you owe us.
It's not
charity.
It's something
you're not doing us charity.
Need to recognize
it is
doing
not. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It It is all your family treasury. It is not your personal money. It is our taxpayers' money and our naturally endowed resources. So you owe us. If I come to think of it, it's one of the reasons why we even donated our collective authority to you. So we are not supposed to sit back and begin to applaud it to say it's not a charity thing. So I'll be very disappointed if many of us are sick with that understanding to say, because that is a yardstick that he's going to be a good Senate president. Here we are. Look at right now. I'm supposed to do some investments towards the Ogoni area. I'm afraid to start because I can't damage my car in that bad road. And somebody came here, stick his honor, yet no honor. Now in the end you want to be, you say you're distinguished. How distinguished are you? You know, a forensic report that many have died who would have benefited those monies that would have taken care of his life. In fact, you don't even want to talk about it. NSAS report is there. The president himself, a lot of fingers are pointing at him to have played some compromising roles regarding to what happened during the NSAS. So these are what universally part of the secret factors. They support leaders who have the courage, the self-led, independent mind, you know, the strength of character to be able to stand to these issues the way that it's going to bring overall benefit to majority of the citizenry. So if it is all about self-interest, the motivation is okay, he is loyal to Akpabio, is loyal to President Bola Tinubu. Therefore, just like the sorry situation we are coming from now, that Ahmed Lawan shamelessly and dishonorably told us that whatever, and of course it played out. It played out. Don't forget, at the peak of violent crimes and insecurity, they were at one point when insinuations were calling for impeachment of President. It coincided with the point that they were supposed to take one of their long breaks, and people were questioning. Is that a calculated way of avoiding?
Yes.
You know,
it was an off plenary session. Exactly. That demanded national attention.
Exactly. You know, the country was boiling. But you see, now they quickly realize that, the Senate president once made a vow that whatever the president, there is no point in contemplating the emotion of impeaching the president. And here we are. So that's exactly, people brought in I don't know, fuel here. We all suffered the high cost and losses and fuel cars damage. Other civilized countries, you have serious people and serious government and serious that take serious. Those of us who suffered property damage would have even been compensated. But that is even going secondary. First of all, we are told that the president who doubles administration because the Senate failed to carry out their oversight function because the Senate president made a vow that whatever the president wants. Right now, I believe that that's what Nigerians are scared of. Except majority out there who are listening to, they are comfortable with the status quo. That don't worry, leave us, we like us, we suffer.
Because my statement actually also was an acceptance of a rubber stamp status.
That is what it means.
As a National Assembly, as an entity.
It's a betrayal of Montesquieu's philosophy of separation of powers, which is acceptable all over the world.
All over the world.
Can you think? Look at just region UK. He had Prince Harry had issues domestic with his father, King Charles. He said he went to the court and said, please court, I'm following my father's I no longer enjoy royal guard, but I want to now apply for national police. What did the court tell you? The court said no. The court said no. The next minute he took his wife, they ran to America, California. Just days ago. And in fact, as I was looking at it, I said, what a beauty. You see people who respect separation of powers, regardless who you are.
Regardless.
You see?
The prince, the king of such royalty. He said, God, please, since I can no longer enjoy royal guards, can you give me? So here we are. So that's exactly what Nigerians want to see. A Senate president that can stand tall, because there is a whole lot of books, to flip over and check where and how we got to this sorry situation. All right, thank you so much, Pastor Bennett. Stay here with me. I'm still Felix, bombastic bishop of the Eros. We will be right back, but before we proceed, we got an announcement. We have a news break. Of course, let's take a short break. When we return, our mid-morning conversation will continue. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to bring you the latest around Nigeria.
Nigeria has been facing series of issues. We talk about the challenges of the security challenges in Nigeria. It's getting rampant. It's getting increasing and getting worse in every day. Nigerians will not continue like this.
This is Family Love 97.7 News Break.
This is Family Love 97.7 FM News Break. I am Felix Ojuru. Vigilante group arrests 4 suspects in possession of hard drugs in Rumukrushi in politics. National Assembly leadership Tinubu's meeting with lawmakers fails to resolve zoning crisis. In education, WAEC arrests 20 exam officials for malpractice. In sports, Adegoye banks on sunshine fighting spirit against Imba. In the economy, Africa's investment in blockchain technology increased by 1668%. Also, on the state of the nation, Tinubu implements uniform retirement age for judges. I am Felix Ojurgu. Stay tuned.
We have senators, we have House of Rep members who are supposed to be doing what we send them there to do, but are they doing what we ask them to do for us?
This is Family Love 97.7 News Break.
Well, welcome back. This is still mid-morning conversation on Family Love 97.7 FM. Felix Ojurgu, as a member of the Family Love FM, and of course I still have our family member here as a friend and the compatriot, Pat Obene, good governance advocate, and I used to also normally add social critic, because we must critique things, so in social aspect of it, yeah. So we're talking about National Assembly leadership, Tinubu's meeting with lawmakers, hitting the brick walls and all that, in terms of resolving the zoning system. The crisis is still sprawling, not just sprawling. We have just 5 days to the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, and up until now, we can't point that this is a designate, Senate President designate, although we have an anointed candidate. And now there are upstarts, kind of people raising their heads and saying no. So what do we do?
They don't love the country. It's an indication there is no love for the country. It's also an indication that they don't have the values of patriots.
Yes.
Patriots are people who are willing to,
like we had them in the first, second republics, up until third, I think.
Because once you cannot conduct yourself in conformity, because the Constitution clearly says the processes to bring about the leadership of the National Assembly, both houses, must be done by themselves.
By themselves.
Emphasis.
Oh God.
There is no
by themselves.
By themselves. And I'm
without any presidential input,
interference,
oversight, or interference.
Not at all. Yes, we agree you could have your indoor party discussions, but you don't bring it to the public glare where you begin to sound much reference is made to you, the president. That it's like it appears they must act in your direction. Then that is no longer constitutional democracy. That we are tempted to couch is calling it authoritarian democracy. There is autocracy. Because first of all, what tells you that you are the rule of law entails first of all this separation of powers. Supremacy of the Constitution,
and the
equality before the respect for human rights. These are 3 major pillars, that ingredients that characterize what you call rule of law. Now, that first one that says supremacy, it means that section now that says, in effect, the manifestation in this situation now is that if leadership is by themselves, the Constitution in that circumstance, the Constitution is expected to be supreme, above the feeling and emotions of whatever the president thinks. Now you can see that it is even within his party that are not comfortable with his choice or his direction. So that alone too has watered down, his has made it more serious that he's in violation. So, and more so, being that he's a new president, I expect that he must have learned a great lesson. He was part of the outgone President Buhari's government. He was a party man, and I'm sure most critical decisions had his ears and all that. So I had expected that he must have understudied former President Buhari's weaknesses, and coming, with the courage that, look, I will promote rule of law, which first we have declared here or established again that it means supremacy of the Constitution. That is, I'm going to reawaken the values of the rule of law. So this is a classical instance where he ought to demonstrate that. But it will be a very sorry situation if it goes otherwise. Then it means that Nigerians should be prepared that as to see nothing will change so positive. It's like business as usual, which I think is not very nice for a majority of Nigerians, because part of the expectation of having a new government is to see things done differently and done in new ways, not to carry on with the old ways, because there must be, we emphasize, checks and balances. It is this absence of checks and balances that has
that is solidifies autocracy,
financial corruption, abuse of power. You know, everybody now, like Babaji Alawa reminded us, who is the presidency. You see, everybody is like, we all know we voted one president, but in action, in practice and principle, you begin to see everybody assuming, acting in a manner as if he's the president. He has an essay to the president, talking more than the president were elected. He has a senior special advisor. So we don't want that kind of situation anymore. We actually want, if for example now the situation the inaugural speech had landed us to, immediately they swear them in now, and an independent-minded Senate president should have the courage to invite President Ahmed Bola Tinubu to the floor to explain what he inherited, the reports. Example that, look, Adwan President Buhari said June ending, it was assumed that yes, your argument is that it was not subsidy was not captured in the 2023 budget. Agreed. But the one that has been paid for covers for the available product that will last. Even the NNPC as a subordinate agency came out and assured us that. So where the president has acted otherwise, and in fact, in real sense, Mele Kyari will also ought to have been relieved of his duty for a balanced and transparent probe. So that's one assignment that will be waiting for whoever emerges as the Senate president. Now the question will be, if they allow the way it is going for President Bola Tinubu to greatly influence who emerges as the Senate president, clearly you don't expect any serious and critical scrutiny of all the agencies, departments, that are responsible for all these diversion and losses. Currently, of course, you can hear days ago they are talking of how many trillions of unaccounted sales of crude oil from the NNPC. I'm sure you in the media, you heard that report. And also the actual state of whatever they call so, because many have argued that this subsidy thing is a scam, that it doesn't even really exist. It's just a name for people to be signing money. Who are these people that have eaten this money? So that is the first assignment. But don't forget, Niccolo Machiavelli told us that the end justifies the means. The means in which these people will be coming, the processes that will bring them, if they are not democratic enough, if they are not independent enough, what we are saying is that it is a fear that the National Assembly appears to be the only evidence that we're in a representative system of government. The other two arms are always there, even under military junta. So now the Nigerian people want a situation where their aspiration and their yearning must be seen to be counted, must be seen to be respected, and the arm of government through which that can be respected is the National Assembly. So if they end up acting in a manner as if they are only answerable to the president, let alone even the presidency, to the president, then I'm worried that Nigerians may not be actually in any time soon get the kind of good governance that they so desire. It will be business as usual. It's like one step forward and 10 step backward kind of syndrome, which I believe majority of Nigerians out there will not be willing to accept. And I'm very sure that's the more reason some of us are taking our time now to begin to educate us to know how to recall senators. Because if they end up doing family business, then the people can assert their rights via processes to recall some senators who will be seen compromising with the executive.
Have there even been any recall?
That's because the people don't even understand the processes. Some people think it's Herculean. It's not that Herculean. If you go to section 69 that affects the National Assembly and section 101 or thereabout that affects the State Assembly, they are not all you need is the same way you go to vote and your voters register is displayed. 2/3 of those who voted in that area is what you require, and INEC gives an approval to it. That's what you need. So I believe that if we could have all the energy to come out to vote, that is exactly when you talk about participatory democracy.
For a lawmaker to be recalled.
Like remember last I told you we keep looking at the preamble of we the people. It is a situation like this, we the people.
Matters
clearly
most.
When they say that the nation, no, it is only the president that we are answering, not we the people. Then
you
we are reminding them that